Monday night. It is Monday night. That can only mean one thing. It's time for You Tell Me with Uncle Neely and Dukes to scoop. You know, Duke, I gotta tell you something, Dukes, because I don't talk behind nobody back. If I say it behind your back, I'm gonna tell it to you when I see you. I be calling you Chop Kick a lot, man. I was on live with Chico last night. I might called you Chop Kick about 3 times.
Man, you know what's funny? It was my dad's birthday, man, yesterday. He turned 82, and that came up. That's who gave it to me because and we was tripping. My sister said, man, Uncle Neely got to come. He got to come to Thanksgiving. I said, I think he gonna be busy. But
yeah, we're gonna be a little busy, but I'm gonna take y'all up on that one of these times.
Guess what?
What's that?
Tiny sent that cake. She said it'll be there Thursday at noon. Yeah, she sent that caramel cake, boy. She sent me a picture last night. That mother looked awesome.
Well, I appreciate that love. I saw your post about your dad's birthday, man. What a blessing. I made sure I liked that. Told him happy birthday.
For sure.
You know, otherwise, man, how you been? I know you've been traveling. We got maybe a surprise or something in store for some folks, man. But I know you.
So I'm actually in Boulder right now, man. Just got in town. Not even 30 minutes ago, but maybe about an hour ago. I ain't realized it was as far as a trip as it was from the airport without the tolls. But now I'm excited to be here. I see they got some of the Christmas lights already up, man. It's pretty at night out here. Like they keep talking about
absolutely.
Man, it's beautiful out here, man. So, and y'all got to bear with me. I got my travel set up, so it's not as clear as usual. But hey, man, I'm here, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Absolutely. I had lunch. Well, I guess it was really breakfast with Coach Prime this morning. Told him you was going to be that you was in town. He was excited to hear that. So
man,
I know y'all
that's
chopping up in the morning. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to get over there.
You know, well, here we are. 8 wins. They said we wouldn't get 6. You know, they said it'd be a miracle if we got 5, and here we are sitting at 8.
Man, you know what? I love to see how everybody's kind of backpedaling, right? And you got some, you know, and you know what I respect? I respect the ones that say I was wrong. I can go with that a little bit further than I can the ones that says that they just keep moving the goalposts, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but what are they gonna do if they play an SEC team, or do you think they'll really beat BYU, and are they built to last, and all of that stuff? Like, so there are some receipts. I know Coach Prime like to keep receipts, but I kept a few myself. And I'm like, it's a couple of them for some people I know that I can't wait to cash in at the end of the year. So, man, it's an exciting time to be a Buff fan for sure.
I done had to cash in a couple of them just because we got way past what they said. You know, they said we weren't going to win but 5, and now we are sitting here at 8. But you're right about that goalpost continue to move. Once upon a time, the Big 12 was going to be this big, bad, tough conference. But then when we started winning in it, now the conference is light this year. You know, the last 3 teams that we facing just beat Utah. About to go to Kansas to play Kansas at Arrowhead Stadium. Then we come home to host Oklahoma State. Once upon a time, those 3 teams were ranked in the top 20 preseason poll. But now they got it.
Yeah. So it's like now all of a sudden is the Big 12 ain't that. But but is it not coincidental that because Colorado is doing as well as they are now, it's a weak conference? I mean, hey, you tell me, Uncle Neil.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is. That'll be the first you tell me. I tell you what it is. When you have a prolific coach, you know, like Coach Prime Deion Sanders, with the staff that he has assembled, the players that he has recruited, the production you have gotten from those players, you know, the goalposts, like we've been saying, is just continuing to move. Every time we accomplish a goal that they said we couldn't, now all of a sudden it's a new goal attached to it. It's a but attached to it. Mm-hmm. You know, once upon a time we had this hard schedule. No way we were going to get more than 5 wins. Now that we got 8, all that, you know, the conference is watered down, this and that. Last I checked, right before kickoff against Utah was the number 1 defense in the Big 12. We put up 42 offensive points against them. Then at the end of the game, now this is a team, Utah, they have played other teams in the conference, other teams ranked higher than us in the nation. Their head coach said, this is the best team we have played all year. You know, he's a guy who said, look, I ain't going to move the goalposts on them. They are what they are. I just got finished playing them. Y'all need to start believing it. The goalposts will continue to move. You know, if we take care of business, which we're going to do, we will be in Dallas, likely playing, you know, a BYU who just took a loss. But who knows, with these 2 games left, mathematically, there's a lot of teams still in it. Anything can happen. But the answer to you tell me why the goalpost keeps on moving is because they don't want Deion Sanders to reach his goals. So they keep moving the goal because they know if he reaches his goals, not only are more recruits going to flock here, there are going to be more coaches hired that look like and even act like him.
See, now we're talking. And I feel like that's true. And the way that he's done it, he's setting a precedent to be able to do it a different way. Mm-hmm. That's not being able to be controlled. That's not really adding into the narrative. So now is when people lose control, what happens? They get afraid, they get scared because no, we're supposed to keep our thumb on now. We're supposed to lose. And now he's winning. And so now there's going to be more people that walk with a swagger, that talk with a swagger, that make real relationships with these kids past football. But see, because as long as you can pick these kids up and churn them out and throw them away, that's fine, because hey, we gave you, because back in the day, you know what they used to say? Well, you got a chance at an education. Mm-hmm. See, now it gets so much deeper than that. See, now you got players that are getting paid for their name, image, and likeness, right? And now you got guys who have real life decisions to make earlier on in life. And there are so few father figures in football that if you want to just go there, there's an agenda out. Now I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it's clear that the black father has been attacked. And when you have somebody in this role who's becoming a black father and creating more positive black fathers, that could be an issue for those who do not agree with that. So so the more successful he becomes, the more it becomes bigger than just the college football playoff. See, this is Muhammad Ali level. What Muhammad Ali stood for wasn't just boxing and championships. He put a whole culture on his back. And that's the same thing that Coach Prime is doing right now. So I think, the more he wins, the more guys like me believe in themselves and believe and say, I don't need that. Yeah. The more times guys are going to say, I don't have to go where you said I had to go. I can go to Colorado. And I think, and my answer to that part of you tell me is going to be, it's bigger than football, and that's why they continue to move that goalpost.
Absolutely. One of the first conversations you and I had was about access, and that a lot of these quote unquote journalists and pundits and experts, it's not that they're experts. It's not that they know ball anybody else. They have access, and they have access because they have always been a reflection of what the head coach looked like. And so they have this buddy system. Well, now you have coaches like a Coach Prime who make sure the people look like him, you and I, have that same kind of access. And now that we have platforms, we get to discuss things like this, and you don't have to kind of hold back and sugarcoat and code switch and dance around stuff. If y'all go back and watch my pregame shows on Friday nights, you'll notice a lot of times this season I was wearing my Muhammad Ali t-shirt because that's what I call Coach Prime. I tell him he's our modern day Muhammad Ali, that it is bigger than the sport that he is coaching. So you spot on with that. One of the most attacked things in the black community is black fatherhood. And this guy, when he hires people, it ain't even about X and O's the first question. He asks about your fatherhood. He wants to know his assistant coaches and his coordinators are good fathers. Then we get to the X and O's, because he says if you can't be a good daddy at your house, how you going to be a good dad in this building? And we have to lead these men somewhere beyond football, because 95% of them ain't going pro, but we're going to make sure that they all become professionals at something. So Coach Prime is changing the standard, and every time he gets a win, it's making somebody else black out there in the coaching field stand up a little straighter, act like themselves a little bit more, because they know it's a matter of time before these dominoes start to fall, where ADs around the country like, man, we got to start hiring more people that reflect what this student body looks like, because we got to recruit these guys. And this old guard is about to change, and that's something they fear, Dukes, is that change.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I'm so glad that the platform is here for us to be able to say it, and for the people to watch it and take this along with them. And let's spark the uncomfortable conversations, because that's all it is. It's an uncomfortable conversation that people don't want to have. But I want to have the conversation. You want to have the conversation. Coach Prime wants to have the conversation. But we have to be strong enough and start to and not just agree in our words, but agree in our actions. What are we doing to help the next brother come up? What are we doing to support the platforms that give us the ability to say things like this? See, and I think that's the most important part of it. And you gotta think about it. Like, remember all of the Coach Prime detractors, and they were saying he should never have left Jackson State because A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's a guy from Atlanta I know. And I mean, it don't matter what Deion do. Don't matter what Coach Prime does. It's an issue, right?
Yeah.
Because the issue ain't the mission. The issue is the mister. See, the problem is with Coach Prime. It ain't the mission for us when we talking to us, right? We got to stop hating. I'm sorry. You got to stop hating as a whole. It can't get no simpler than that. When it comes from inside, and we all know that, like, when we see these movies and they do those inside jobs and they say it's a robbery or a hit or anything in these gangster movies, the inside job is the one that hurts the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So as a community, as a whole, we got to stop that. And when we see somebody else doing, each one got to teach one, like, nah, bro, don't say that. Nah, bro, that's not that. Because we always talk about people that rather code switch than be on code. And that's a problem for me.
They rather code switch than be on code. Boy, he unloaded something right there. Hey, Big Dog Chico, our producer extraordinaire in the background. Make sure you block that Tony FYF Sports, whatever he keep posting over and over. Get him out of here. Because we having a serious conversation. We ain't got time to be playing in the chat like that. Dukes, I mean, you just spot on and direct in so many ways. I remember when I personally made the transition, from Jackson, HBCU space to out here, somebody tried to handle me like I was abandoning, young brothers in Jackson State. So I had to hit him with this, Dukes. I had to hit him with this. I'm gonna walk this thing slow now. Listen to me.
All right.
I said, okay. Jackson State is a HBCU located in Jackson, Mississippi, which is about 85% black city.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, Mississippi is located in Mississippi, which is about a 45% black state.
Mm-hmm.
Where am I needed more to help young brothers? In that majority environment or in Colorado where they're going to be alone?
Yeah.
Like, where's the true battlefield in this?
Right.
Because if me leaving an 85% city in a 45% state has that much of a drastic impact, we got much bigger problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the issue is, like you said, it was the messenger, not the message. Because people have done this throughout time, and they just had an issue when he did it. But I got you tell me.
All right.
Speaking of brothers who made transitions.
Okay.
74% completion rate, 3,222 yards, sitting right at 27, 29 touchdowns. What more does Shedeur Sanders have to do to get invited to New York City for the Heisman Award, even if he doesn't win it? You tell me, how does he get the invitation?
Well, I'll tell you what. In order for him to get serious consideration, he just got to get a new daddy. That's it. He got to get a new daddy. That's all. But since that's not an option, man, Shedeur has to be damn near perfect, man, because it doesn't matter what he does. It's like he's always climbing up this hill. And I'm not sure if it's because his Travis on the team or it's because of his genes. But outside of that, I mean, what more do you want from a quarterback? Let's break down the game, right? Let's look at the intangibles that go along with winning a Heisman Trophy. Let's look at being able to settle down when after you come out, you throw a pick, first time, boom, then you have a fumble, boom, and then you still end up going 30 for 41 for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, right? Once he settled everything down, there's a poise and a calm that goes along with him, which is one of those intangibles that doesn't show up in the box score. And those are the things that I feel like why he deserves a seat in New York. Now, will he get it? It'll be too much like right. You know how they say, that's too much like right for him to get that because you really going to let this man go to the playoffs and his son get to go to New York, and he get to go be a top 5 pick. Yeah. Man, that's too much like right now. So I think now, does he deserve it? 1,000%. And I think he almost has to be perfect to beat the media bias that goes along from his last name. That's just the truth.
You know, man, I wish I had something to add on to that you tell me, because we normally go back and forth with it. But you hit that thing went in the upper deck when you said a new daddy, because that's all it is, his last name. When I saw him come out of high school and I watched him play a couple times at Trinity, they had him as a 4-star. The only reason he wasn't 5-star because his last name Sanders and who his daddy was, that reciprocal rippling hate that takes place, in certain media spaces. And I think that of course, what Travis is doing, is certainly has him in the front seat for Heisman. But I totally agree with what you're saying and the question leading into it, that they invite multiple candidates, typically the top 4, certainly the top 3, to be there. And I think Shedeur should be one of those, because when you look at quarterbacking, which the Heisman is typically a quarterback award, there's some guys out there with a little more yardage, a little more touchdown passes, a little more. They did this in these situations. But when you look at the totality of quarterbacking, unlike those other guys who have put their teams in trouble and then had to come bail them out, he never puts his team in trouble. When he does make a mistake, it never compounds. He fixes it, corrects it. His leadership on the field, in the locker room, off the field, you cannot question. To me, he is clearly, if nothing else, the second best player in college football this year, with Travis being number 1. So they both got to be there.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I got it. You tell me. Coach Neely, this is my first practice I'm going to tomorrow.
All
right. You've been around this team for a long time, and you've been around the staff a long time. You've been around football a long time. What about these practices in Boulder sets the Buffaloes apart from other teams? And how much of the practice habits that you see, or how many of the practice habits that you see, how do they manifest themselves on Saturday? What do you see in practice that allows them to be so good on Saturdays?
Very, very, very good question. I think it starts at the top, and what has permeated through the top, through the coordinators and through the staff. You have so many guys in this building, touching this program, who have NFL experience, whether that is playing or coaching. So first and foremost, everything is professional. It starts with the team meeting. That's about 7 a.m. to set the tone of what we're going to work on today, what the message is, what the outlook is. You go into those position meetings with your coaches, and they address things that we're about to clean up, and these are the installs for this week. You go out there on the practice field, and typically Tuesday, the O-line and D-line to go do some things like practice on inside run, some more full contact stuff, because when you get later in the week, you want to lessen that to be game ready. But there is no wasted motion. There's no wasted drill. There's no wasted opportunity. Everything that they are doing attaches to the game itself, and not just the game of football, but that upcoming opponent. What you're not going to hear tomorrow at practice, Dukes, you're not going to hear nothing about Utah. Everything is going to be about Kansas. You're not going to hear anything about Oklahoma State. You're not going to hear anything about the Big 12 championship. It's like the only thing in the world is going to be that next game. And these coaches have these guys focused on that, focused on the installs that they're going to take to that. The walkthroughs are very professional and organized. This staff, one thing that Coach Prime does not get a lot of credit for is the staff that he has put together, the men that he has been able to convince to come join him on this mission of getting Colorado back to national promise and the national championship. You look at the coordinator experience, the position, the unit coaches, even the graduate assistants. The resumes in this building are exactly why you get the outcomes that you get on Saturday.
I think, you know what? That's a great answer. And I think the staff part of it is what I really like. Understanding how Coach Prime put that together and mixed this piece here and knew what he needed here. Like, even just looking at the D-line, when you look at like the personalities that you have from Dancy to Sapp to Lewis, like everybody got these 3 personalities, but he knew where to put, who to put where. And I think that's one of those things that's as underrated as a leader, and a leader of men, and a leader of alpha males, not just guys who feel lucky to be here. You know how hard it's a high school back in Atlanta, all the talent in the world, and they got a team full of alpha dog coaches. and it's some you know what every week. And I think that's one of those things that's important is to understanding the mix of who you can put where. Because when you get a bunch of alphas, that's what when they can't bite against the enemy, sometimes they turn around and they start biting at each other. And I think for him to be able to manage all of these alpha dogs, these alpha males, I think that's phenomenal because when you talk about all of that NFL experience and being able to have guys that genuinely have fun together. Now, I haven't been to a practice, but outside at that hole, you see me at that pregame, I was just sitting there watching. I'm out the way. Neely called me, Deuce, where you at? I'm just watching. I was at I'm just looking. And now I think that's something that goes underrated that Coach Prime, like you said, to your point, he doesn't get enough credit for how you put that staff together and the people and the resumes that he put together.
My man Dukes to Scoop, it ain't nobody out there in this space that know more about recruiting in the landscape of recruiting than yours truly. I mean, you're at the tip of that spear, the apex at the top of that mountain. When I watched this past game against Utah, I saw a freshman O-lineman in Jordan Seaton out there. I seen a freshman center in Cash Cleveland. I saw a freshman receiver who led the nation this weekend as far as the impact of freshman wide receivers in Draylon. You look at even before Micah's hamstring, a true freshman was out there playing. You tell me, why do they still say Coach Prime only lives in the portal when clearly he's got true freshmen out there, not just on this team, but making an impact?
Because they don't get it. They don't. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't get it at first. I get it now. See, when you got a limited amount of official visits, now they just like we just talked about. Now they removed the rule once Colorado figured it out. Like, okay, we're gonna do it this way. And then you got a limited amount of time, right? So people feel like recruit, and all you got and they feel like recruiting classes automatically translate to wins because that's the only data that we have, right? The only data we have is what the main recruiting sites say, and then they use that data. Yeah. But let's go back and look at it from teams who haven't done it their way, and they've done it their way, have done it a way that's been unique. Like you look at the Michigan team last year that won a national championship. There weren't those top two classes. It wasn't a number one class. They put the right pieces in place. They got a Will Johnson. They got a Donovan Edwards. They got a Mason Graham. They got a J.J. McCarthy. None of those guys were like, well, maybe two of those four were like world beaters, right?
Yeah.
After that, they got the right people in the right places, and they spanked everybody last year with the right coach. Okay, cool. Similar to Coach Brown, when Coach Harbaugh was doing those satellite camps, I don't know if you remember, they was on him. Yeah. Why is he doing that? Nobody ever did it before. That's not right. And then he ends up winning the Natty. I see the same thing coming from Coach Prime. Why? Because he's not going to get guys that he has to de-recruit when they come on campus. See, when you go recruit all these guys and these, let's look at Texas A&M in 2021 when they got that big class. Or was it 22? One of those classes when Texas A&M was one, they spent all the money.
Yeah, that's when Saban came after. It was 21 because Saban came after Prime too, saying the same thing.
Yep.
When he was talking about Travis going to Jackson State, that Texas A&M and Jackson State was paying people.
Yeah, come on now. Well, that was so crazy, man. That was wild.
For him to say that.
Yeah, talking about the pot in the kettle. Good God. Yeah. Hey, so when the ability to keep these guys who only respect the money, who only respect the dollar, who only respect their own intentions, and I'm not knocking nobody for getting the bag.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's so hard to bring guys in and give them the world, and then when they're making more money than every coach on your staff, every coach. Some of these guys, it ain't nobody making more than them but the head coach. All right. And guys who don't have the capacity to deal with that and still be able to take correction. See, I'm not worried. Like, the money ain't the problem. It's about having the money and being able to still take correction and fit in to a unit bigger than you. And if you don't understand the player on a deeper level than just he's 6'6" and runs a 4.4 40, then it'll be hard for you to keep these guys in your program, and that's what we're seeing. I looked at all those top 5 classes for 21. Hardly any of them have more than 55% of that class still on their roster.
Absolutely.
So now, when you look at all how the transfer portal is and how these guys are getting up out there, if they don't get what they want when they want it, I've heard so many times guys this year who are freshmen who ain't playing and saying, "I'm leaving. I gotta go." They already hit my phone. "Oh yeah, such and such is about to ride. He's about to slide." Coach Prime is going to find guys that, one, want to come in and work hard. 2, they're going to get a bag still, but they know how to handle the bag. There's some maturity there, right? He's going to get self-starters who want to come in and work. See, if the work is first, the money is fine. And I think that's one thing, a big misconception about Coach Prime was that they saw like the flash. They saw they saw the swag. But they never focused on the work. They never focused on how many times has this man been late in his career.
Yeah.
Kind of on one hand, if that.
Yeah, say that.
He don't be late to nothing. And to get on me, before I even really met him good, he was on me about being on time. I said, "Coach, I'm 2 minutes early."
The dude texted me this morning. We were supposed to meet at 9:30. He hit me and said, "I'm running like 5 minutes behind." Like, man, you ain't got to give me that kind of notice, but that's how much it wait on you regardless. But he don't play about that time.
No, man. And so when it comes down to it, I just feel like the way that they're like playing these freshmen, the right kind of freshmen, right? You're gonna get some, he's gonna go get a 5-star every year. He's gonna go get a 5-star. But is it the same 5-star that he's ranking C? That's the difference. Yeah. See, sometimes you put that black and gold on and if something happened to that, man, it's like, oh, I don't know if he's that good no more. But, yeah, I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah, sometimes they put that black and gold on and it's like, dang, I didn't realize he was so short.
Yeah. Dang, a lot changed based on where they go to.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he was 6'5" before he made the decision. Once he made the decision, he was 5'11".
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, ain't nobody crazy. All right, Coach. No. All right, I got you tell me.
All right, hit me.
You tell me, what was the turning point in the game when you knew against Utah? What was the turning point on Saturday where you said, you know what? Oh, we finna start rolling.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It was just like the week before in Lubbock, Texas. When you don't get touchdowns against this team, when you don't maximize your opportunities off of our deficiencies, and here's what I mean what the deficiency was this week.
Okay.
We lose the coin toss. They elect to receive. I mean, they defer, so we had to receive. Offense goes out there first. First player of the game, Shedeur throws interception. That is uncharacteristic on so many levels. But they didn't get but 3 points out of it. And I knew then, because the way you know ball, coach, and you coached before me around it, you have a script and you have scenarios in that script, and they're based on down and distance and what the scoreboard says. And you go back to Lubbock when it was 13-0 instead of 21-0. That changes the way you have to call the game. And so this defense, man, and this bend but don't break mentality that they have, I knew when Utah did not maximize and turn that turnover, because we discussed this on You Tell Me, and you discussed it on the breakdown on Thursday. Shout out to the breakdown on Thursday. Y'all make sure you tune in on Thursday because the breakdown will be breaking down the Kansas game with Duke to Scoop. That the only way Utah was going to be in this game was to deny us possessions by milking the clock and running or get some turnovers. Well, here they do first possession of the game. They get a turnover, and they do nothing with but a field goal. I knew then they messed up there. It reminded me of Men's Society where I'm like, you know you effed up, right? Wait. You know just getting 3 points, you effed up, right? Yeah. You need to get 7 there, but you ain't get but 3. You know you effed up, right?
Yeah.
And there it went.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. I feel like, man, when Augusta had that long run, that's when I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, for me, the the ribbon or the icing on the cake, whatever you want to say it, is when we got a rushing touchdown and we also scored on special teams. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like
That's the one. That's
y'all
really the one.
all y'all have done is make Shedeur so damn comfortable now, because now he ain't got to be Superman. He could just be man and just get this done. I talked to him post game, and he literally said, he said, man, that just took so much pressure off what I had to do because we scored on special teams and the defense made them stop. Now I ain't got to go out there and force nothing. I could take my time and play ball, and we put up 42 points on the #1 defense in the conference.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. And it was so much in that game to take away that you could say, man, they still haven't even played their best ball, man.
Yeah, we had a couple quick shout outs, Duke, before I hit you with a you tell me.
Right.
I know we got 1,100 watching live on the Pregame Show Network. Of course, it's being simulcast on Big Dog Chico. But shout out to who else is watching over there on Facebook and other social media platforms. So we're doing the damn thing tonight. And this is episode 2 of You Tell Me. We bring it every Monday night. It's going to be live. Even when rental cars get delayed and flights get delayed, we're going to still find a way to make it happen. Man. So you tuned in to episode 2 with Unc and Deuce the Scoop for You Tell Me. So Deuce, you tell me this now.
All right.
You tell me. We got a guy. Let me set the stage. I think we have the most prolific, talented wide receiver room in the country.
Yeah.
That you can have guys like Jimmy Horn miss a game, you don't miss a beat. You can have Travis last year miss a game, don't miss a beat. Any given Saturday, you have a guy that's the #1 receiver. Then you got Mr. Consistency and LeJontay Wester out there. But let me just peel back these layers a second, because we talk about this defensive staff a lot. Let me talk about this offensive staff a second.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Phillips, who coaches the wide receivers, played ball at the University of Houston. For 2 years in a row, led the nation in receptions and yards.
Mm-hmm.
His quarterback, Andre Ware, went on to win the Heisman Trophy. And as Coach Phillips would tell you, he had to throw it to somebody to win the Heisman. When you look at the talent that's in this receiver room, the talent is coming back, and the recruiting pipeline that's opened up with the coaching of Jason Phillips there, you tell me, is CU the new wide receiver you?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think for what they're doing and the way that they're getting the ball out and they're hitting everybody, you can never, like, every one of these receivers, there's a spot or a slot that you can profile into who can fit that role. And when you start to show this profile of, if you have a guy with speed, agility, and open field moves, you can fill in here, then you can go look at film and say, you know what, that's my LeJontay for when he gets ready to leave. I can go, oh, you know what, I need a 6'3", but I just don't need a 6'3" or a 6'4". I need a 6'4" with great ball skills, with those insane catch radius that makes those tough contested catches. Okay, that's my Will Shepherd profile. Okay, I need just a top flight funky guy, somebody who can do a little bit of anything, everything. Okay, well, that's my Trav, and it's hard to say that Travis Hunter profile. It is, but
yeah,
when you have guys that you say, okay, how can I replicate this success? When I worked in warehousing, when we talked about being good or making good numbers for the night, it's one thing to have good numbers for the night, but not knowing how you got there. Then the cycle can't be like, if you know how you got good numbers and you were lucky, that's not good. But knowing how you got there and why things are working, understanding the past concepts that are working, understanding what looks you're getting and why these wide receivers are getting open, and sometimes these guys are wide open. Then understanding, too, your players to know that even though they may be double covered, they're still open, even if it's two men on them. Those are the things that you can replicate to make the cycle repeatable. And I think that this becomes a cycle, to your point, that once this cycle becomes repeatable, which we're starting to see now we're starting to see that we're starting to see the pathway for how Colorado can become wide receiver U. Quanell X, dog, he's somebody, I'm telling you, watch what I tell you. I don't care what nobody says, because a lot of times they like to say, oh, well, he doesn't have the top flight size, or he doesn't have the top flight. Listen what I'm telling you, dog. Dog. DAWG, 2 G's. Dog. Yeah.
He the truth, and he's committed, and he's one of the ones that's Looking forward to being coached here. I
Oh,
like what you
okay.
said about patterns and how trends happen, because it's the way LSU became DBU. Year after year they found success at that position, got guys drafted. Now we just made people want to go there if you played that position. But you see that even shifting to Colorado now, not just wide receivers on the offense side of the ball, but the DBs on the other side of the ball, because you got a head coach, best has ever done it. You got a defense coordinator. That was his room in the NFL, and that's what he scouted for. Then you got Kevin Mathis, who coached it as well. So you could look up Dukes, and you got wide receiver U and DBU in the same program because of the consistency of the coaching and what that coaching propels people to go on to do.
Man, you know what's got me most excited more than anything? The lines, offensive lines. Now, because when we talk about how can Colorado be successful in the playoffs, and everybody talks about, well, the SEC and the big – bro, when you can compete on the interior offensive and defensive lines, I struggle to find a defensive line with more depth and talent in Colorado. And
I got to stop you, dog. I got to stop you because I know we're going to go out of order, but I got to stop you because that was a you tell me for you. So before you say that, let me go ahead and hit you.
Okay.
We lead in the Big 12 in sacks. We're sixth in the nation in sacks. You bring in D-Lou, Stapp, and Dancy, and kind of got a three-headed monster in one room with D-Lou being the defensive line coach, Stapp being the D-line analyst, Dancy moving up from analyst to coach the D-ends. And instead of three separate rooms, they're all in there together. We talked about that. Giving up so fewer running yards this year that we're averaging about 100 yards less per game in what we're giving up. You tell me, is there a weakness in this current D-line and this D-line coaching atmosphere?
Nah, I don't see any holes because you can do it from a multitude of ways. You can be multiple. You can send waves of guys, and that's what you want. The best defensive lines are not just about having top-end talent. It's being able to send in waves of guys in the third and fourth quarter. And I always say this. If you got 8 defensive linemen that can play against the same 5 offensive linemen, you're going to win usually, especially them boys can play. If you had the same talent level, if everybody is from, let's say on a scale of 100, everybody is from an 80 to 90 on the board. Let's say that at going against an 85 line who's right in the middle. Well, eventually that 85 is going to go down because of fatigue. And in that third or fourth quarter, you're going to have some fresh legs for that 80 to 90 role that you have on your defensive line. So I think when you talk about the depth, see, the first thing about grading a room is going to be talent level. All right, so talent across the board. You go talent, and then you go depth. And when you got those two things, when you can go deep with talent, and then when you take yourself out of the players' room and you go to the coach's office, and they're teaching it the right way, they're being creative, they're holding people accountable, and then you start to let that accountability permeate back to the field, and you start to get peer accountability, that's where I feel like this D-line is special. I just had a conversation. Somebody asked me, they said, hey, dudes, do you think that Colorado could be the SEC team? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, how? I said, because of the lines. You don't play big boy football. If you want to court, like we could talk about everything else going on with this team. But if Shedeur ain't standing up, then he doesn't get to make these plays.
Period.
And we can talk about everything, everybody on the back end, how good that secondary is. Nobody in the world can cover for 12 seconds.
No.
You got to go get to that quarterback. And the pressure that these lines are bringing, and I want to give a lot of love to the O-line, but this question is about the D-line. The way the D-line is bringing pressure from the interior and the outside, but it ain't nothing like that A-gap pressure, man. When you can just beat your man up the gut, push him back. Man, good. I mean, McNeil, so proud of that kid, man, because it could have went a million ways. But he's from Georgia. It could have went a million ways, but it went the way that it was supposed to go because he stayed down and he worked. And he didn't cry about it. He went to work. And I think that's what you see. You see a workman-like attitude, and now you're starting to see the potential being tapped into by guys who have done it at the highest level. And so when you ask me, you tell me, do I see a hole in this defensive line? No, and I think they're in contention to be the best D-line in the country.
Wow, I love it. Great insight. I think with a guy like McNeil in next year, with the way he's finishing this season, you just know going into next season he's going to be looked at as round two, kind of guy for the NFL draft. And he can have the right kind of season and be first round as well now. But he's going to go into the season, projected for second if he continues to do what he's doing this year, because the sky's the limit, and he has shown what he can step in and do at a moment's notice, which shows his work ethic, his study. Because before, he is almost like Cash Cleveland did at center. He was ready. Like, he was ready for this opportunity. He didn't have to let me get a couple games under me, coach. First time out there, he make an impact because he's ready. And that goes back to him personally, but as well as that, that coaching that he has. I know we kind of skipped turns, so it's back on you for you tell me. But when I saw you going down that D-line road, I was like, hold on, because that's what one of the ones I want to pick your brain on.
I got it. So my you tell me is about the team. I don't think anybody is as plugged in to the team and the pulse of the team than you are. What's it like? This is a question I want to know. What's it like for the players who came in the transfer portal, who may not be playing, that have multiple years left? How excited are they for what's going on and working hard to get their turn like they're seeing some of their teammates get?
Great question, man. I think, again, this is an issue that starts at the top to keep it from coming an issue, because you articulated earlier when we started talking about recruitment, high school players, and the portal and that kind of stuff. We live in the world now, man. If a joker don't play, he gone. That's just, and I'm globally speaking. If a joker come in and he don't get the minutes he think he's supposed to get, you're going to lose him, whether he transferred in or you got him straight out of high school. The way Coach Prime is able to articulate his message, the way these coaches don't just coach who's playing, but coach the guys. Everybody in the room gets coached the same kind of way. Whether you're going to play Saturday or not, you get coached like you're playing Saturday. So you're always in that development and growth process. And then these guys who have not gotten opportunities yet, they see an Omari McNeil, and they see other guys, Cash Cleveland step in there or walk on. They see other guys get opportunities. And so it instills this more of an old school patience in them, back when you couldn't transfer without being punished. You had to transfer down or sit out. So I think you're going to find that whereas college football across the board, people are going to be leaving everywhere. Don't get me wrong. That's going to happen to everybody because that's what the system allows. But I think you're going to see that Coach Prime in Colorado are probably going to have the lower end when it comes to amount of people who are leaving, because they bought into something and they know that they got next. They know next fall is their turn because these guys are leaving. They're going to the NFL. You look at the O-line. Coach Phil Lodehost said it in front of the team last week, and he was talking about Justin Mayer. He said the guy practices like he knows this is it. And you know why? Because this is it. Like, he can't come back next year. It is go home or go to the league, and that's how he prepares. And so that's a spot that's going to open for somebody who's currently not getting time or looking to transfer here or looking to be recruited out of high school here. Coach Prime has a system, man, where if I recruit you and you come here, it's because I believe you and I want you to play now. And for those guys who are getting developed or waiting on the opportunity, they believe, because they've seen it in practical, they've seen it happen, that the opportunity is coming. I don't know of another program that operates like that to that minute detail.
Now, and watching how little patience some of these teams that are on, like when you go look at some of these teams that are on the level of a Colorado with this type of record, being talked about having the opportunity to go to the college football playoffs, there are a lot of these teams that don't have patience. And I know for a fact, there's some guys that I work with very closely where they just, hey, man, we've got so many guys, we don't have time. And I don't care how many guys you have. When you're invested in the player, you make time. And even if this guy can't help you Saturday, if I can invest in him, if I can make this small deposit on a consistent basis, he will get it out of here eventually. We will find what we saw, right? So with that being said, I think, to your point, the way this program is being ran is different because there's a patience level, and because the players don't have it and the coaches don't need it. But I think by being able for the coaches to have some patience, that allows the players to have some, because like you said, they're still getting the coaches, right? The coaching, that a lot of the time is being spent with them. And I think that's the most important thing is when you have guys that are really invested and believe in you and they know you, right? Not just the ball player. I can't stress that enough. They know you. There are things that you can go get out of a player that the average program wouldn't be able to get.
Absolutely. I'm gonna make you this challenge because you'll be at practice tomorrow. And then after practice, we got Coach Prime's weekly press conference. Here's what I want you to look for, Dukes.
All right.
Now I want you to turn off your knowledge of individual players, but just watch practice or individual drills. When you watch Coach Hart with his linebackers, when you watch Jason Phillips with receivers, you don't know who's starting. They coaching everybody the same. Everybody gets the same scrutiny. Everybody gets the same pushing. Everybody gets the same opportunity for reps. You walk into practice and you wouldn't know unless you just know, all right, that's Will Shepherd, number 14. But if you took off their numbers and didn't look at their faces, you wouldn't be able to tell who's going to get reps because everybody is getting coached and pushed up. Meanwhile, at programs around the corner, hey, man, that dude ain't playing. What am I working him for? And that's what feeds guys to leave because they don't see opportunity where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Portal.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people talking about O'Biller and his return. Man, let me give him a big shout out. Seeing him the past couple of days in the building, down to just a boot now. He was in treatment when I left the building today. Without the boot on. I mean, his y'all remember when T.O. came back from that break and was still able to play the playoffs? Like this dude is about their recovery, man. He has had the right attitude about it, sitting in meetings, being in with his position, meeting with receivers. O'Miller going to make a big impact next year, man. Big impact.
Yeah, I believe.
All right, so we winding down. Try to do these in about an hour. So this is about my last one for you.
All right.
And I want you to get your crystal ball out.
All right.
You got the Browns out there, the Cleveland Browns out there bombing, man. The Carolina Panthers are pathetic. The Raiders are rebuilding. It ain't nothing new in New Orleans. Cowboys, I don't even know what to say about my Cowboys. You tell me, where does Travis Hunter end up in next year's NFL draft? What team is going to get him?
Man, you know what? Man. So out of those teams, I think
who do you see being in that top 5 and it's not going to go quarterback but going to go athlete?
I mean, so out of Cleveland, they got to go quarterback. Oakland got to go quarterback. The Panthers don't necessarily have to go quarterback. The Giants got to go quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a direct correlation between teams that are bad and quarterback play.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you got some teams that are bad with the quarterback, like say the Jets. They got to be looking toward the future. Rodgers not going to be there forever.
Yeah. I think that you gotta. I think I gotta see Travis with a. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna hit a home run right here, man. A team that needs Travis on both sides of the ball that I would love to see, that I think has a coach. See, one, he got to go to a team because Coach Prime said he's gonna treat Travis like everybody else, right? I mean, excuse me, he's gonna treat Travis just like his child.
Like one of the sons, yeah.
Yep. So he has familiarity with a team. He has familiarity with a city. You got a young coach. You got a coach that's in tune with the culture. You got a GM that's in tune with the culture. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw the Falcons mortgage a lot of what they got right now to go up and try to get Travis Hunter. And I could be hoping. Matter of fact, I am hoping.
Yeah.
But I
know this your squad. I know this your squad, but I ain't mad at you because that makes sense, because QB wise, they got Penix on the bench. So they're solidified there. And they're probably going to finish the season with a record outside of being in that top pick, but they do have the assets to trade up to get it.
I mean, think about this. Let's say right now Kirk Cousins continues to have a decent year, a serviceable year, where you got a quarterback-starved team who needs a quarterback like the Jets or like somebody like that, right? You package him with another young guy and a package of picks. All the Falcons really need, they need some help at receiver, and they need some help at corner, and they need to help get into the passer.
Well, you solved 2 of those 3 with one person.
Exactly. You get that one person. You got help at the secondary. You got help at receiver. You got you can literally put him in as your 2 corner and your 2 receiver your rookie year until he grows into what he becomes in the NFL. So yeah, I think that's a perfect fit for him and for Travis Hunter, the Falcons.
I love it, man. I love it. I just said let me throw my guy a curveball, see what his crystal ball say. But I can't debate that answer, man. I love it. I think that's I think situationally, environment, coaching staff, impact, still the prime effect is still there, so to speak. I think the environment would be right for that.
Man, listen, you see how crazy everybody went for them Deion DT Maxes last week in Atlanta?
Yeah.
It was down there when the shoes came out.
Yeah, it's real.
For real. So it's like, who did it's a lot of places where Deion got a lot of where it ain't too many places he could go where everybody don't know him. But Atlanta, he's like the first guy in Atlanta. Like before Dominique, like he is one of those people on Mount Rushmore in Atlanta. So when you talk about being able to make a phone call, and he can do this in every city, but man, from the trap to the government's mansion, Coach Prime can call and get it done for anything that he needs done. So if you want to send your son to a place, why not send him to a place like Atlanta where you built so much and you know that you can keep an eye on him from a distance?
Yeah.
So, I think Atlanta fits. He said, "Don't wrap it up."
He said he got to talk to his wife. Boy, you crazy. Hey, Captain BG, let me tell you what I'm going to do for you, man. Captain BG, shoot an email to Uncle Neely at thepregameshow.com. Make sure it's THEE, Uncle Neely at thepregameshow.com. Shoot me an email with your mailing address. I'm going to send you a Ralph's Reserve hat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send you a Ralph's Reserve shirt. Because any man that'll type that publicly, don't end the show because I had to talk to my wife. You're going to need some clothes when you get kicked out. So we're going to make sure you got something to wear.
Man, ugly.
I'm gonna take yours, of course, Dukes. But let me say this to the chat as we get ready to wind down. If y'all have a "you tell me," go ahead, type it in the chat, and we'll try to pull somebody and get to them. Go ahead, Dukes.
All right. Let me ask you this: how does Colorado beat a SEC team in the playoffs?
Here's the thing, man. I don't care if we're playing an NFL team. Now, before y'all attack me, just humor me a second. Let me make my statement. When you have the 2 best players on one side of the ball, and one of those is also the best player on the other side of the ball, you got a chance against anybody, because you can score. When it comes to what the SEC is currently doing out there, I love the way our D-line has revamped. I love the way our O-line has revamped. So when I put all that together, you got more than a chance now. Because keep in mind, off talent, off dudes, we got a chance. Now when you put all that together, we got more than a chance. You add in the coaching acumen and the game planning, you got more than a chance. Because as you said in this show, Dukes, if you give Shedeur 3.5, 4 seconds, man, them receivers so far downfield, like, it just is what it is. So when I look at, I'm not a coach. Coaches don't do this. I'm not on the staff at Colorado. They are one game at a time. Right. I sit there and I kind of peek, Dukes. I look at, hey, man, if we go to the Big 12 championship and win it, where will we fall in the bracket and who will we be facing over there? If these scenarios play out, those games are winnable. Those games, you're not running up against somebody that just totally outweighs you. Where it's a 280-pound heavyweight fighting a 120 bantamweight. You ain't got that kind of scenario. Like on paper, you are in the mix. On paper, a year ago, we wouldn't have been in the mix. We were too deficient in the trenches to play with the quote unquote big boys of the Power 5. But in this Power 4 era, the revamping of our O-line, our D-line, and the coaching acumen with it, Phil Lodeholt, D. Lou, I like our odds against anybody, man. I got Shedeur and Travis. I really do.
I'm gonna agree, man. I'm gonna agree. And like I said, if you go on the Instagram post that we had, one of my buddies from the crib told me, he was like, "Dude, you gotta tell in front of everybody, can they be the SEC team?" Like I'm finna be like, "Nah, I can't." Yeah, they can be the SEC team, bro. Like, like it ain't like that. Like, let me tell you something. And
it's not like it was 10 years ago. It's not like that.
Bro, like the parity, because there's so many guys that a SEC team. back in the day, there was a lot of gatekeeping. And to be an SEC guy, you had to come in as an SEC guy. Well, now the new SEC guys are coming from different schools. They coming from Vanderbilts. They coming from Group of Five. They coming from D2s. Like when you go look at these SEC rosters, you're gonna find guys who didn't start off at Georgia. They didn't start off at Ole Miss. They didn't start off at Tennessee. They got to Tennessee, and those are the same. They coming from the same pool that Coach Prime just had the #1 class in the transfer portal. So what you think that means?
I got the same dogs you got.
Yeah, come on now. So I am adamant about this, and I can't wait because guess what? They can say whatever they want to say. There's not another player, like ain't nobody in the SEC. Shedeur Sanders would be the best. He's the best quarterback in the country. Why wouldn't he be the best quarterback in the SEC?
Absolutely. And
Travis is
he's the best athlete in college football, period. So absolutely.
Why wouldn't he be that in the SEC? Like let's just simplify it, guys. Jordan Seaton could have went anywhere he wanted to. Why he couldn't do that in the SEC? Come on, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tyler Brown, who Phil Loho, who is coached at Oklahoma, coached at Ole Miss, played in the NFL, reset the market for that position, has publicly said Tyler Brown is the strongest offensive lineman I've been around at any level. And you tell me that don't translate to SEC trenches?
Come on, man. Yeah, like, and I think what we got to do is, man, we got to get rid of that SEC bias, man, because it ain't the same. It ain't the same SEC from when Saban had, and
no, it's just not. It's not.
It's just not.
The clarity of the portal, the influence of the bag, all those things that now made a lot of things even that were uneven, which is why your boy, when he shot them shots at Texas A&M and shot them shots at Jack State, the very next year got the hell on about it and just doing Affleck commercials because he know it's too equal now.
Yeah, it's too. Yeah.
I'm gonna be struggling against Vanderbilt.
Man, listen. When Vanderbilt when Vanderbilt beat them, that was my one because I knew early in the year, and I'm one of the only people on record that was saying Vanderbilt gonna get Auburn. I was doing Auburn at the time. Like Vanderbilt gonna get Auburn everything they want, and they laughed at me and they said, I'm telling you, because it's not just because it's the same quarterback that beat Auburn the previous year and the same system that beat them again the previous year before that while they were at Liberty. So when you're able to take a guy from New Mexico State who was not recruited, who was a JUCO guy, who got it late, but he's a baller, think about how many guys that Colorado's has on that roster that weren't recruited as highly as some of these other guys, but they ballers. So at this point, it's not a team in the country that I don't think it ain't no boogeyman out there for Colorado. They can beat anybody.
Absolutely. All right, we do have a you tell me from the crowd, and it's right up your alley. So I'm gonna pitch it towards you. It went by, I think it was somebody from somebody named Carolyn, but somebody asked the question. You tell me, Dukes, is Juju really that dude worth all this hype that we hearing? The quarterback.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's 2 quarterbacks in the country that are ready to play day one, in my opinion, and that's Juju and Bryce Underwood. Like when you look at what Juju's been doing since he was a baby, like Juju. And first of all, y'all, we forgetting Juju's playing in the highest classification in Georgia, which has the most NFL players per capita per high school per capita, not the most. But the most per capita, the most players in the NFL come from Georgia per capita. Make sure I say per capita. But even Coach Prime knows your dog's coming from Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas. All right. So but since he's been in that highest classification, when he started his freshman year, he goes to the title game in the highest classification against Caleb Downs, right? Throws 300 yards as he was 14 years old. Right? Then he does it again and does it again. He's always done it. You can't rattle him. You can't shake him. We watched him play against Parker with #1 top cornerback Naeem Alford, throws the pick, forgets about it, and starts slicing that defense up. It's almost like Lethal Shooter on Instagram. This is why I think he's so ready. On Instagram, you go watch Lethal Shooter. He shoots it. He misses. Something goes wrong. He might shoot it, miss it again. And then he says, I understand it now. And then he goes crazy. That's what Juju is. Yeah. Once Juju figures out that defense and figures out your tendencies, he's like Floyd Mayweather. He's just diagnosing what's coming. Okay, I understand that. Okay, they showing me cover 3 here. Okay, then they bail it. They playing quarters out of the 3 look. All right, so when I see that safety, I know, okay, I'm a hot route this slot receiver, and I'm going right at him up the seam. Those are Juju plays that he's been making since he was Juju. Like, we call him like a little computer, like, because he's downloaded so much information, and his father TC has ingrained in him a stoic nature, and I think that's more important than anything. Is that, can you stand up to, like, a lot of people? Somebody said Juju comparison. I think it's hard for me to compare Juju to anybody. To me, Juju is like a mix between like a college Bryce Young and a Drew Brees, all in that same field with and imagine that calm demeanor and the arm talent of Michael Penix. If I had to put those 3 together, a right-handed Michael Penix, demeanor-wise, the way he could see, the way he shoots lane. And what I said Drew Brees was really good at shooting lanes. He didn't have to be 6'7", because when he saw his lane, he knew how to get the ball out, and not just he would shoot the lane. And that's a hard thing to do when hands go up and hands go out. So that's an innate ability that a lot of people don't have. So I think that and I say with Bryce Young, because Bryce Young went in college, and I think he still got a long way to go. I think Bryce, when I say a long way to go, I think he's gonna be all right. But even with Bryce Young, I think when he gets with the right system, that he's gonna be good. But Bryce Young had this uncanny ability to stay out of trouble in college. I don't know how. When I say stay out of trouble, is even when the pass rush was coming, it's kind of similar to Shedeur. He doesn't panic, being so cool. And that's what I like about Bryce Young's game that I could kind of give to Juju. And we haven't seen as much of that on the NFL level, but definitely in college. Man, Bryce Young will be sitting up there like he ain't have a care in the world. And that's how Juju is, man. Juju ain't studying none of this, man. His expression, the only expression that you're going to see outside of that same expression is him smiling. Like, he's very stoic in that nature. And that's why I feel like he's worth the hype. And I don't care what they rank him. He's worth it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Somebody put one up, and I'll knock this one. It went by, so I'm gonna paraphrase it. It said that with the portal and who we got coming back, how is the Big 12 going to keep up, as in keep up with Colorado? And I will remind you all, if you go back to those glory days of the SEC, one of the best recruiting messages you have is also who you're playing, because you got to think about when Alabama was running that thing, everybody can't go to Alabama. But Auburn is able to say, hey, we see them once a year, Iron Bowl. You in the SEC, you get talked about it. We see them, we're going to be on TV. One of the things these Big 12 coaches know, there's a rising tide lifts all boats. And when you play Colorado, you're going to be on TV. And so the fact that we're in the same conference with them and maybe out recruiting them is going to help them recruit as well, because, hey, we're in the same comparison. You come here, young man, and help us take down Deion Sanders. That's what your role is going to be. That message is going to be out there loud and clear, just like it was when Alabama was on top, or back in the day when Penn State, Ohio State was on top. You can recruit based off who you play. And one thing people in the Big 12 are going to be to say, we play Colorado, you're going to be on TV. People will see you.
That's a great point.
Hey, man, got 1,200 up in this thing on the Pregame Show Network. Also got them on the Facebook pages. Also got them over on Big Dog Chico's pages. So this thing is running up. Man, it has been another episode. It's 2 down with infinity to go. But I can't wait till next week. The reason I can't wait till next week is I got my brother Deuce the Scoop in town. We're going to be at practice tomorrow, the presser. Y'all wait till y'all see Thursday's episode, the breakdown. Man. Big Dog Chico, the producer in the background, said we got over 1,700. Y'all need to hit them like buttons, man. Hit that little thumbs up. Hit that like button. Show some love. Make sure you subscribing to both channels, supporting, because this is how we grow. This is how we're able to do and keep the access and the information going, is because of y'all. We would not be here without y'all. And to have 1,700 watching it live, shout out to the audience in the chat, man.
Man, that's amazing, man. Thank you, y'all.
Yes, sir. Deuce, break it on down, man. Let's get on out of here. What's your last words?
Man, I'll just say, man, it's a beautiful time to be a Bucs fan. And shout out to the Pregame Network show, the Pregame Show Network. And man, I'm so excited to be here, man. I brought my College Park t-shirt so they can know where I'm at.
College Park, booty, rugged everywhere.
But yeah, man. Hey, look, make sure y'all follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DukeSteveScoop. Follow my dog at Uncle Neely. Follow the Pregame Network. Follow Uncle Chico and follow Big Dog Chico. Make sure you hit us on all the socials, man. We can't wait to give y'all more content as a team.
I was about to say that, man. I said you got the last word, but I got to tell the people this because I can't keep it. Me, you, and Big Dog been talking. Me and you been talking. You and Big Dog been talking. I think we're going to add some other nights. Some other nights, so y'all stay tuned. You're going to get some more Uncle Chico. You're going to get some more You Tell Me or some variations thereof. We're going to keep this comment coming as long as y'all like it and love it and watching it. We're going to keep feeding it to you. Hey, Big Dog Chico, the producer in the back, we appreciate you. Extraordinary producer. Not only do a great job with his talk shows, when he behind the scenes, that dude got magic hands. Big Dog, take us on out of here until next Monday night. You tell me. We out. Yeah. Big Dog ain't tell you got a freestyle all the way out, dude.
Man, I ain't got no problem with that, but you know I can go. Hey. Got a freestyle on the way out. Some people told me stay out. I got on up on with Neely and he gave me a way out. And then I got that payout. It's almost like it's May out. Cause I'm feeling so hot. Yeah, I'm feeling so hot. I'ma tell you what you got. I'ma give you what I got. And we out here cooking up. Colorado got a pot. I'ma give my best shot. Every time I'm in the booth. And they people say this booth. Can't go around with the truth. Hey, hold on, don't get me started. Hey.
And we out of here with the Duke freestyle. Take us out, Chico. We go.
You put me on the spot, huh?
Oh, yeah.